Howdy once again, it's tubalcain, your YouTube shop teacher, and in this video I'm going to show you a test indicator that I recently received from Banggood. It was free, I did not pay for it. I'll show you on their website, it's under $20. I'll show you that in just a second after this scene is over. But in the little box here, and of course this is from China, but look what we got. There's the test indicator, and it came with two little stems, and this is the one I probably will use, dovetails. Has a pretty good sized dial on it, and it has 30 thousandths range, and it's calibrated in half thousandths. You can see the lines there. Pretty nice looking little instrument, but just how accurate is it? And we will soon see, because I'm going to compare it to a Brown & Sharpe test indicator, and I'm going to use gauge blocks to do that. So you might find this interesting, and I'm kind of excited to see just how this holds up and what kind of quality we got. And it does look pretty nicely made. Take a look at the specification sheet that came with it down here in inches. You can see that it has a range of from 0 to 30 thousandths, and the graduations are in half thousandths, and they are telling us that the accuracy of the instrument is 4/10 thousandths. So we'll see how true that is in a minute. This is it on the Banggood website. You see that it's $17.75. And I will be comparing it against the little Brown & Sharpe Best Test indicator, also calibrated to the half a thousandth, as you can see right there. Now this is an older instrument. I've had it for quite a while. Well, and it was made in '98, so it's 21 years old. Also comes with several different stems, and that is the one that I will use. Now, I am not trained in metrology. I'm just an old shop teacher, but I'm going to use the granite surface plate. I've cleaned it real well with the Clean Surf. And let me show you real quickly the gauge blocks that I'm going to use. Alright, here's the gauge blocks, and admittedly this is what you would call shop grade set, and most of these are still brand new. They still got the wrapper on them. Why am I not using my do-alls? Because some of those are scratched and they just do not ring well anymore. These will ring real nicely, but in fact I'm only going to use 2 or 3 of these, so I hardly need a big set. But we know that these are pretty darn accurate, and that just is my reference. Originally, I was going to hold the indicators with these little surface gauges, but actually this gauge almost dwarfs these. So then I thought I'll use the larger one, but I only have one of these, and I really need a pair. So plan B is to use the Mitutoyo height gauges, and I have already removed the scribers, and I'm going to hold the indicators in the little. Both indicators are mounted, and I use this little square to make sure that they are truly the same and square, with the surface plate to eliminate any possibility of cosine error. I hope that methodology is correct. And I can see right now that the black dial is going to be a lot easier to read than the white dial. This is a 1-inch Weber gauge. It's not part of that set, but with everything wiped clean, I am setting both indicators. Notice I'm getting no reading right now, so that I am about 10 thousandths, or let's say 5 thousandths, because I don't want to start at the point where I'm not getting a reading. I don't know if I made that clear. And then I will lock it, and I'll do that to both of them, and I'm going to look straight down at these myself to eliminate parallax error. You won't always have that luxury. Alright, let's begin. That's a 1-inch gauge block, and both indicators are set at exactly 0. I'll zoom in and do that again. And repeat. And you can see they're both on 0. And now switching to the other gauge block, here's a 900,000th rung onto a 0.110, and of course that's a total of 1 inch and 10 thousandths. So when I slide this under the indicator tips, they should both read 10 thousandths. Okay. Now on the Brown and Sharp, I'm reading almost a full thousandth off, at least 3/4 of a thousandth off, and on the Banggood, it's pretty much right on. So why is the Brown and Sharp misreading here, or is this not an accurate instrument? I'm now going to add 120 thousandths to that 900 thousandth block for a total of 1 inch and 20 thousandths. We'll see what happens. Okay, I will remove again the 1 inch, and this is 1 inch and 20 thousandths. Now remember that these dials go up to 15 thousandths, and then we have to add 5 to that to get the 20. So, the Banggood is about 1/4 of a thousandth off, and the Brown and Sharp is 1/2 thousandth off. So how can that be? The Banggood is pretty much what we would expect according to the tolerance, but that isn't acceptable on the Brown and Sharp. So I'm going to condemn that, at least for the moment, and put another indicator over here, and it will be a TESA. Let's see how it does. And I'll go back and I'll zero them out and then do the 10 thousandths and then the 20 thousandths. Okay, I've switched indicators. This is the TESA Swiss made. It has a larger dial, but it also has 1/2 thousandth graduations. This is the 1 inch. I'll remove, and this is 1 inch and 10 thousandths worth of blocks. The TESA is right on. It's just perfect. And the Banggood is off by not even 1/4 of a thousandth. Just a tiny amount. Alright, let's switch to the 20 thousandths. Have you noticed that I always put the 1 inch gauge block back in just to make darn sure that they're on 0? So let me remove that. And this is 1 inch and 20 thousandths total. The TESA again is right on, or virtually right on, and the Banggood is at this point about 1/2 thousandth off. Not quite 1/2 thousandth off. Let me put the 1 inch back in, and they zero out. Remember now that when I put the 1 inch and 20 thousandths, since these dials only read 0 to 15 and then 10 and 5, it had to be on the 10 rather, because there is no 20. Alright, let me summarize, and that is that there was some error with the Brown and Sharp, and that really surprised me. The TESA is right on as you would expect it to be, and the larger dial helps a little bit, I think, with the reading. And the Banggood is very, very good. Not quite as perfect as this, but the TESA is probably about $200. I'm just guessing. Probably about $200. This is under 20, and the amount that it was off is so negligible that in our home shops we can probably never work that accurately anyway. So I would give a thumbs up to the Banggood as very usable in the home shop and for the budget-minded. The TESA is something I came across in my travels, also used. I do not know how old it is, but I hope you enjoyed this little video, and you can calibrate, or that maybe is not the correct word. The word probably is to just check against gauge blocks, and the gauge blocks, we just have to consider that they're darn near perfect, even though this is a set of import economy gauges. They are not laboratory grade by any means, but I'm not in a laboratory. This is tubalcain saying so long for now. See you next time.